So, Eddie, you'd like to know how it works.
Yeah, I saw this in that movie Get Out. I just wanted to, come by, whatever.
And that doesn't concern you at all?
Why should I be concerned?
Because it happened to what happened to the last guy. All right, you know what? Never mind. Eddie,
Yeah,
I want you to think about a cheeseburger.
Oh shit, I'm hungry as shit right now. Damn. This is pretty cool.
Is it?
What's happening?
What was the last thing you ate, Eddie?
Okay, I had a shake and I had some chicken nuggets and I had a beer and that was the first part of the meal and I had
Chicken McNuggets, okay, right? You mentioned the nuggets. Go there. Go to the nuggets. Find them.
Oh, all right, I got the
Find
nuggets.
the nuggets.
All right. What's going on? Am I gonna start losing weight? Or, what the fuck?
Eddie, it's been 6 or 7 years since you've done any bit of exercise. You haven't done anything.
That's true.
How does that make you feel?
I'm kind of hungry right now, to be honest.
Sink it to the floor, Eddie.
What?
Sink it to the floor, Eddie.
You're listening to the Double D's podcast.
I'm Dom.
I'm d.respect.
He's got a great set of tits.
I get so angry thinking about this kid.
Because that's what most people are bitching about.
To New York, you know what I mean? We like to eat out here,
You gotta stop looking at interacting with people online as a cheap date. My father used to drink.
Get the fuck away from me. I'm done.
I come a lot, by the way.
You're doing the rap stuff.
If you didn't say it, somebody in the comment section would have said it.
It's like how you feel when you're having a paranoid high.
That's a dynamic connection right there. You're listening to Double D's.
I'm Dom.
I'm d.respect. I wasn't expecting Eddie to just fall into the floor that quickly. I guess it's because he's that heavy.
He's so fucking heavy.
He's so heavy.
He was sinking when he came in. Oh, that would have been a good tag to say that he's sinking already.
Oh, wow.
He's already in the sunken place. The sunken place is literally wherever Eddie is.
That's as soon as he sat down on the chair, he was in the sunken place. Thank you for listening to yet another installment of the Double D's podcast. As always, we're gonna beg you. We're gonna fucking pull on your dicks and yank on your dicks. And
I ain't doing that. You do that shit.
Well, I'll do it. Please give this video 120 likes. 120 likes. I know I told you guys 130 last time, but it seems like we're going to have to go back to 120. Let's do 120. Please, you'd make me the happiest podcaster in all of the land if you were to do that. Do it! Do it!
Just do it!
You never get into any modes where you really need to be pushed. You don't need words, do you?
Yes, I do, man. I know you guys
What
out there.
do you need right now?
Right now.
Do it!
Yell at me.
Just do it, bro. Just do it. Just, bro, whatever it is you want to do, bro. You ever met a guy who's fucking dumb as fuck, but he
I'm talking to one right now.
A guy who's dumb as fuck, but he believes in himself, like blindly, almost like Mark Wahlberg in that.
The Fighter? Not the Fighter.
No, not The Fighter. The movie where he was lifting weights and he was with The Rock and they decided to
pump it up, pump the iron.
No, it's not that.
It's Mark Wahlberg, The Rock, and another guy, right? It's three dudes, and it's like they're all big. Get big.
Anthony Mackie. It's Papa Dot. Yeah.
Is it called Big Pump Iron, something like that? Metal.
No.
Lift it up.
No, but that's basically my point. Mark Wahlberg is that character. He's that character that believes in himself, but as much as he believes in himself, he's just as stupid.
He probably enjoys life better. I mean, words for me, you can't really tell what you need to hear until you hear it. Because there can be a guy who is eating a lot like Eddie, and he's eating his whole life really shitty, but Of course you need to eat less. What person doesn't know that at this point, man? There's no one who doesn't know that. But you know what? Like, you know about sales, right? And I think sales is about you seizing an opportunity. You have to convince someone that they need something, right?
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, like, in your situation, they come into the shop, they need it, and so they're already a foot in, right? So how much leverage, how much work word-wise do you need to put in to someone who's already consciously knowing that they're going to buy?
I think the challenge is in it's in the conversation. If you come in and you want a specific thing, then my job is to get you that thing, but to start the conversation of you getting a program of other things that you can take in conjunction with that. So if you come in and you ask me for a fish oil, I'm not going to try to sell you the fish oil because you already want it. You're either going to buy it or you're not. But you know, if we come in and as we're walking to the fish oil, I can talk to you about the importance of probiotics. If I can talk to you about the importance of multivitamins, and by the time I put the fish oil in your hand, you see, here's a mistake that I've made, and I still make to this day, where I just don't build up that conversation with somebody. I'll focus on the product that they came in for because I want them to get a particular one, and then by the time you convince them to take that, and you want to build the program without building the conversation to lead into it, is normally when a customer will just take that first product and say, no, that's fine. Because if you're asking for the fish oil and I haven't started the conversation about the probiotic, once I've sold you on the fish oil, which I didn't have to do that, I wasted my time there. Once I bring up the probiotic, you're going to feel like the probiotic is working against it, or it's they do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, so people end up thinking that they have to choose between the two. No, you can take them both, but that's my fault that I didn't deliver it to you that way. You know.
So this goes back to the original point I was going to make, is like your delivery is so paramount in that situation.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about words and how much you need to be pushed, to your original question, we're this is kind of an abstract thought, but we're always shopping for things. We're always shopping for ideas, man. Like, whatever thing will make me feel entertained, what's going to inform me. You're shopping for things that'll fill up the loneliness in your life constantly, man. And we're consumers, man. You know, we're huge consumers in the West. So we're always looking for shit to fill whatever need we have. And so you have the other side of it, the salesman, and it's some of them are not even. And when I say sales, I'm speaking very generally. Some people that are selling you things are just kind of like they are very selfless about it, and they're not selling you a physical thing. They're selling you ideas. You sell and buy ideas all the time when you're talking to people. I mean, like if you're listening to commercials, you guys should know this. When you're watching a Subaru commercial, because they are the kings of this, a Subaru commercial is pandering very strongly to like middle-aged, usually white people, where it's like, you want this sort of life. So they're selling you that idea of that perfect life and using words. Back to the original thing I was gonna say. I gotta stop using that phrase. It's gonna annoy the shit out of me. But
what phrase?
Back to the original thing I was gonna say. Like obviously I'm going back there. I don't need to fucking say it. But
they're
like,
attaching.
it depends.
Oh, okay, good.
Sorry, it depends on when you're willing to buy. So when you're in the market for it, if I'm in the market mentally about like I'm a piece of dog shit and I need to stop eating so much, then I'm walking into the store, right? I'm in the store. I'm looking for someone to tell me why I should stop eating. And this is one of those things which is like, it can be deceptive because you may think that you're in the market for it, but you might not be. Mm-hmm. You might not be ready. So what I'm getting at is you have to be like, once you're ready, and like I talk about this all the time when people asking me about drawing and getting better and all that shit. I say literally the same thing every time. And this is an example of why, I mean, like, you guys, when you ask questions or you're looking for things, you'll get it when you're ready, but you have to be ready for it. You have to be ready to buy. Does that make any sense?
The phrase that you should stop doing is asking me if that makes any sense, because if you're wondering if it's making any sense, it's less likely that it's making sense to me.
Really?
So you drop your shit off on me. You figure it out. I don't know, man. You're going. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Keep going.
So, okay,
you're not ready. You're not ready for making the purchase that you see. The Subaru. You're not ready to purchase the Subaru.
You're once
or the idea of what they're selling
like
you.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying the car. It's not the car. ideal family. That's the idea. I want my family to be better. That's what I'm shopping for. You might be doing it subconsciously, but once you're ready for that, then you're open. You're open for someone to suggest reasons why your family isn't good enough and what you can do to be better. Okay. So anybody comes by and says stuff, and then that's when the words take hold because you're willing to buy. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, I'm talking about receptiveness, like how receptive you are, like the time factors. Because I mean, everyone knows what you need to do. Like you got to be better with your body. You got to be better with your family. You have to work hard. Everyone knows these ideas, and obviously, also it depends on how it's delivered. But I think I remember. I'm trying to think of stuff that really resonated with me word-wise, like just hearing people say something that really changed me.
How did Just Do It work on you? Did it?
It's been working on me recently, but not to do anything, but just thinking of, in a very meta sense. That's a great ad. That's a great campaign. I know that it's excellent, but it doesn't,
because it doesn't specify anything. It's just like whatever it is.
It's like move forward, perpetual motion.
Just do it. Well, I wanna it can apply to the most minute detail of your life. It's like, well, okay, just do it. Yeah. Wash the dishes. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, that would be clever though. That'd be clever for them to do it like it's an apron and they just put it on a woman, like some old lady who's just washing dishes. Because it works.
Yeah.
The same concept. Because they're
That is sexist. Why should it be a lady washing the dishes?
I'm sorry, SJW chick who sounds just like Blogger Chan.
I am not Blogger Chan. I am.
You were literally just her.
SJW.
It is your cadence is so much like Blogger Chan.
How dare you accuse me of being someone else? You've evaded me this whole time, but I am here. Do you have a question?
Yeah,
Dumb! I am sick and tired of your voice. Let's talk about
disgusting, dude. She's like a palate cleanser, isn't she? She's like when she comes out, it's like everyone stops thinking about whatever they were thinking of. It just destroys.
She's like a gong. She's a gong. See, that's racist. Yeah, that was racist. By the
Speaking
way.
of Godzilla, Skull Island. Any interest?
I don't know. None of these movies have ever appealed to me. Like I've seen
the kaiju movies, the big beast movies.
Yeah, the big beast movies that just don't work. I don't know if it would be more appealing if they sold the film as a versus package, because they did that. It is. It's who against who.
He's fighting like three or four beasts. I think there's a bunch of them. He's beating the shit out.
There needs to be a King Kong clone, and that needs to be his name, King Kong clone.
He literally looks exactly like him, so you don't know who to cheer for.
And with that name, by the way, he sounds like he could be like a Dominican 30-foot gorilla. King Kong Cologne. Literally, COLON.
King Kong Cologne.
Yeah, exactly. So he fights to the death with King Kong, and that would be interesting.
A Dominican dude?
That's Dominican 30-foot. How tall is King Kong?
Dude, King Kong is probably...
He's not bigger than Godzilla. Godzilla's...
It depends on which one.
Well, the one that climbed the fucking Empire State Building isn't very big.
Yes, you're right. He's not. But like the original Japanese one, that motherfucker is huge. He probably is the size of the Empire State Building. He's big as shit. But there was a Godzilla like I think the one you're thinking about, he's like really lean in the Matthew Broderick movie. That one was like, yeah, he was probably like a quarter of it, maybe like 10% of the Empire State Building, whatever that is. But yeah, but this King Kong, they retconned everything before, and Samuel L. Jackson's in it, and John C. Reilly, which is kind of cool, but he's gonna be. It's the same shit over and over again.
You're not gonna see it.
I don't know. It got an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't. You can only go so far with a movie about destroying cities because it feels very fake. And you know what? I'm gonna say this right now. I think that our media consumption is one of the reasons why. I remember being a kid, and maybe it's also because I was a kid, but I remember when September 11th happened. We go from Godzilla to September 11th. If we're talking about like catastrophic city events, like I remember seeing that and thinking this looks like it occupied the same part of my brain as all these destruction movies. Like we see it so often.
That's what I always heard that Godzilla was, though. Wasn't it like an analogy of like the atomic bomb or something?
I mean, I think you could draw those comparisons. I think it's this isn't a coincidence that the Japanese made this.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep going down that shit about like what the atom bomb did to those guys, like culturally, like you have a supremely proud. They're still ultra proud, and I think very nationalistic, and like, so you go from like them being like stupid proud to like being like destroyed most in the most single greatest act of war, and after that, like their stories like are very specific. There's a very specific quality to them. I'm talking mostly about like the dark shit that they do, like their horror and the way they depict like suffering, like internal suffering, suffering within a group, that sort of stuff. I've never seen that replicated anywhere else. So I think that shit really did affect them. But do you think post 9/11, do you think our stories got different? Like I'm sure it affected us.
Just in short term, but I think everything's gone right back to normal. You mean specifically here, or just the U.S. in general?
In general, the U.S.
We felt it a lot harder, dog. I'm just saying.
Oh boy.
I'm just saying, dog. We felt it a lot harder than everybody else did.
With your paper towel do-rag on.
Exactly.
That trope is so shitty. In New York, we hard up here, man. We wear two Tims at a time. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we do. Be facts. Facts is becoming like a thing. That's like really. I don't feel like anything changed. It's just for the short term. It's just what all disasters tend to do is they bring people together. And that's
did it not feel fake to you in some way?
It didn't. Okay,
I mean, you were actually literally there. I think it's
didn't feel fake at all, because you know what? When September 11th happened, I was maybe 19 or something like that. I was still in my teenage years, so I kind of fell for the okie doke. You know, I fell for the fake nationalism that
is that an okie doke, or is that just people trying to like make sense of the world?
It's fake because we were not fake, we were just grieving.
Yeah,
you know, it was the grieving process. So yeah. I see it as fake because it's temporary. That's not how you're going to treat me every day. That's not how
hold on, that's fake. You feel like grieving should be so if let's say you die, which you will, like right after this podcast, I'm going to kill you. But let's say you die. You feel like grief isn't real.
You love whatever premise you can construct that starts with me dying, by the way.
It's great. Excellent. It's the best. But do you feel like there's a fake sort of grief, like that's time-based?
Well, obviously everybody grieves differently. All people grieve differently. Right. But what I mean by it being fake is that it's a phase. It's a temporary phase that we went through. I mean, for you to use something as personal as a person's death and the people who knew that person, you know, who knew that person intimately, I think I see what you're doing, but I think that's a completely different conversation, because we're dealing with 7 to 8 people. And you're comparing that to a scenario where it's like, 3 million people in New York City?
Okay, yeah. You said grief, and like when you say grief, that's like you get attached.
Grief is personal to you, I guess. But that's what it was. It was grieving, dude. I mean, I remember when I saw it on the news that night. I was literally kind of like scared. I was like, holy shit, like what just happened? And seeing people crying on the street.
Damn.
It was legitimate that I had a fear, and I mean the perfect way that they played it is they gave you a face. It wasn't even. I mean, how many hours after that happened that you started seeing Bin Laden's face all over?
It was quick, man.
It wasn't even 24 hours. Legit.
Dude, I was in the 7th grade, man.
You were in the 7th grade? Holy shit. How old are you?
I'm 29.
No, how old were you? I can't do the math.
12?
You were 12. Fuck, yeah.
Something like that.
So you weren't able to process it like I was rapping.
Honestly, but it happened quick, and we just.
It did. I'm pretty sure it was within 24 hours when you started seeing his
24
face.
hours.
Within 24 hours, you know, the news was already throwing, you know, speculating that this is the person. Then I think a week after that, Bush gave, you know, 4 days after that, Bush addressed it, you know, in front of Congress. But
what did he say? Do you remember at all? I'd really like to go revisit that. Right?
He talked about this being. He introduces Al Qaeda. This is when, you know, there's a terrorist group. And
here's Al Qaeda. As my good friend.
These are, you know, they are people that bombed American embassies in the past.
Yeah.
But he made it perfectly clear. He said, "This isn't a war against Muslims. This isn't a war. This is a war against terrorists." So it wasn't fear based. It was just kind of real. I mean, a lot of people could make the argument and say like, well, yeah, it wasn't fear based because they constructed it anyway. So they already did most of the job. So he didn't have to word anything in a terrifying way, because if they stage the whole thing, you know, they can sort of act as the saviors. That's a long conspiracy wormhole that you're following yourself. Here's what I want to ask you. I mean, besides 9/11, because I mean, people, you know, we can go on about 9/11 forever, but conspiracy theories in general, and I'm not asking specifically for ones that you believed, but whatever conspiracy theory you subscribe to, what was there a similarity of all those conclusions?
So you're basically saying, is there a common denominator? Is there a common factor
between all of them?
Surrounding 9/11 or pure everything I believe?
Just
now?
anything that you may have, that you still believe. Okay,
interesting.
See, we've never talked about conspiracy theories on the show. I mean,
I would love to. And you know, okay. So before we get into this discussion,
Pocket
you guys,
alive. Okay.
Yes, I saw him at that Popeyes, B. I saw him at that shit cooking some shit up, B.
Vivid memories of Hennessy. Picture my enemies wanna envy me
while he's working the fryer.
Right. He's just throwing up those just throwing up those Pac lyrics as
okay, about Tupac working at a Popeyes. Okay, he's rapping. The manager.
Drinking on this Hennessy while I'm making the fries.
Hey, Pac, you know it's cute and all that.
My manager's an enemy.
These raps that you're doing, they're very cute and everything.
If he keeps talking, he gonna see me in the penitentiaries.
Are you talking, philosophically? Is this like metaphorical?
It's not philosophically or metaphorically. I'm threatening ye. What was ye? What was that?
Angela Yee.
I'm threatening Angela Yee.
Over on this side. Angela Yee's getting threatened. Okay, before we get into this conspiracy theory shit, you guys, many of you know this already, but I'm trans. No, I I like how I screamed no afterwards. No, it's not true. It can't be. Not I.
Transphobic.
I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. As long as I can remember, I was a Jehovah's Witness. Now, long story short, it's a cult. It's a Christian cult. It's all about deprivation. It is about the incredible fear of a universal dictator, Jehovah. Fear. You're supposed to be in fear of him, and you're supposed to love him. This is Big Brother from 1984. So I think this really has informed my my upbringing and who I am as an adult now, because like just please, if you guys can imagine this, like you grow up in a society, and like a local family society where everything you do is with this undertone of like he's watching you. He will punish you if you do the wrong thing. You will suffer. Your family will suffer. He'll take you away from people, and he's gonna make you regret it if you don't do exactly what he wants you to do. Right? Down to the point where you can't even masturbate. Like you can't even.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah, you can't even touch your own body. Like they used to say, if you want to masturbate, just pray to Jehovah instead. what kind of crazy shit is this? So that's what I grew up under.
It's kind of gay.
Yeah, it is. Like, honestly,
Why are we gonna talk to this dude?
I never thought about that until honestly, till recently. I was like, this is insane. So like, and you wonder why fucking like Catholic girls have like Catholics in general have like this intense like all these weird fetishes and shit.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to get sexual pleasure, which is completely natural. But then you attach it to the overlord, right? This overlord who's controlling you doesn't want you to do it, and he's taking you away from this thing that's natural to you. So, I think you know how I think this affected me is the fiction that I'm into. I am obsessed with post-apocalypse and super awful like horror, like the worst shit that can happen. Worst case scenario type stuff, and I'm talking like since I was in the 6th grade, I was reading shit where like I was drawn to stories where like main characters could die and like be killed off and like really bad things happen to people. And I think that was because one of the things in church they always told us about was Armageddon, which is, and like, are you familiar with that?
Am I familiar with the concept of Armageddon?
No, the movie with Bruce Willis.
Oh, with the actual
asteroid.
movie.
Yeah. They used to make us watch Armageddon.
Really?
I'm joking. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
No.
With the concept of Armageddon.
I had you go and you're like, what?
Yeah, I seriously thought you meant. Okay.
My bad. So the concept of Armageddon is like before. Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in hell. They believe in heaven, sort of, but they believe that what's going to happen is at sometime soon, they say, God is going to rain fire from the heavens and destroy everyone who's not a Jehovah's Witness or isn't worthy, right? So, I mean, we're talking billions of people being, like, consumed by flames. They tell you this shit from when you're a kid, and they're like, you better watch out. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. Everyone's going to be destroyed and burned in flames. And they tell you this like it's truth. And even talking about it now, it feels fake. And I think this honestly is one of those things where I taught myself to like everyone deals with like kind of mentally traumatic situations or whatever differently, but I think I kind of just pushed it away. I tend to not think about it because it's insane. Mm-hmm. But I mean that's kind of a conspiracy theory in itself, right? Is it? Or is it just doctrine?
It depends. I guess it's all a matter of perspective, right? I mean, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I don't believe in any of that shit, and I think it's because of how I grew up, because of having all that bullshit put into my head. It's like I'm not gonna let other people convince me that some crazy shit's gonna happen. I've been through that already. I know what it feels
the
like.
Conspiracy. Okay, so how much could we attribute that to sort of to basically Trump?
What do you mean?
He's gonna get you. He's gonna ruin this whole thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing now. But
Yeah.
I mean, But we're not talking about gods and demons. We're talking about a physical person who has power in this world. This is no conspiracy.
Yeah,
theory.
but when we're thinking of resources,
okay,
you know, because if we fear that a politician is going to make things worse, it's because most of us. I mean, look. I mean, to be completely real, I mean, most people are dependent on the state. They believe that government. They believe that a entity outside themselves is what's going to ensure them their prosperity.
Right.
There are those that need it. You know, they're the elderly, they're the sick that need it. But most of us could use it, but we depend on it.
Okay.
Which is why we're so married to the certain the certain laws that get passed that enable us to get a hold of things that financially we can't afford, we like that more than the idea of things being taken away from us, because we like that security blanket of the government. I mean, and I can understand it, and at the same time, I think it just breeds just pure victimization. It just you are bred to be a victim. You're training yourself to be a victim because ultimately you feel powerless. You feel powerless, and I can agree with you where I'll say, I haven't been through any of that Jehovah stuff. I mean, I wasn't raised with any of that religious stuff, so I've never been conditioned to be afraid of anything. When growing up in a house, my parents have even brought up religion. It wasn't even, I could see that my mother was maybe more leaning towards that side. My dad sort of had an interesting perspective on life when you consider him and how he thinks, but what he thought about the bigger picture of everything. My dad would just always say, there's no such thing as a God. God is nature. He's like, I don't believe in that whole concept, which it was interesting because my mother was more of, I think my mother is where I get a lot of my my thirst for self-help, for motivational talk. I'm fascinated by it, and it's because my mother had a fucking the Dianetics book that she read when I was, and I didn't know what that was until now, but she's always read a lot of self-help books, and she's very self-help in the way that she talks. But one thing that didn't happen is that there was no boogeyman in my house. There was no, this is gonna happen if you don't. My father, if anything else. But I saw my father as a man. It's like, oh, my father's only scary when he has a belt. That's when he's terrifying. But if he's watching TV, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Does he have a belt while he's watching TV?
No, that's fucking terrifying. If my dad walked around with a belt throughout the whole house all the time, I think I'd be terrified of Donald Trump.
You guys think he's talking about like a belt you wear around your waist? He's talking about a WWF belt that his dad had. That's what he got beaten with.
That would be amazing if it was a WWF belt. But yeah, I think what you're saying is it's real, man, and it's what I don't think you have answered is how. That's the beginning of how you were raised. But with conspiracies now, you can't be convinced of anything now. But was there a 5-year period where you kind of like chemtrails? Yeah, I can believe that.
I think I did sort of answer this, man. I used to be even more of a skeptic, more of a materialist, I think. Like, I was very strong atheist coming out of the gate. Like, when I came out, which I had to do.
Oh, you were the obnoxious atheist guy?
I wasn't obnoxious, but I listened to a lot of Hitchens, a lot of Dawkins. I was reprogramming my brain. Because what was happening was, like, I'm way over there. I was lost, kind of. I was like, I needed to find people who thought like me or who just looked at the world like I did. So I had to find something, I knew that I stopped that praying didn't do shit when I was like in the 8th grade. It was like I would pray and it's like I don't hear anything. Why am I sitting here talking to myself? I don't hear anybody. Mm-hmm. They tell me I'm supposed to hear some shit, but I don't. It's bullshit. Jesus you pray to Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ. How do they say it? Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, something like that.
That's how it is. Jesus Christ.
Bon Dieu is God, like good God. Bon Dieu. That's who you pray to. It's like the punctuation to every statement. Okay, was there ever a time I could be convinced of some shit? No, I always found it funny. There's shit about like Rihanna worshiping the devil and all that stuff. Because it all, I know what it sounds like, man. This stuff all sounds the same to me. It's like you might as well be telling me about Armageddon. It's like don't fucking try and put me back into that Jehovah shit.
Last night I was hanging out with someone and I was partaking in some edible marijuana as I normally do, and I asked her what her tolerance was. I said, "Well, what do you normally take?" And she looked at me and she was like, I'm good. So I had a piece of cookie in my hand and I said, okay. I went into the pack and I gave her a full cookie. And she started eating this.
Is that a lot? How? Like, okay, tell us how much you usually take. Because you're a power user. You're a heavy user now.
I'm somebody who takes edibles every day. I'm not heavy, but then the average person, absolutely. The person who eats edibles once a month at a party or something, yeah, my tolerance is way higher than that person. But I take it before work. So the amount that I eat, I section it off very well. I know what my tolerance is. So I take like a quarter of a cookie. I don't know how many grams it is, so I don't know how much it is. So I take a quarter of a cookie and I'm fine, and it normally hits me in about 45 minutes to an hour. If I don't feel like it's getting high enough, within that 40 minutes to half an hour, I'll take a little bit more and sort of just turn it up a little bit. But I rarely eat an entire cookie. The only time I ate an entire cookie is when I did that and I went out for a run and I had like a religious experience while running. It was the weirdest, craziest thing that I'll never be able to share with another human being. But I just had so many revelations. It was crazy. So anyway, so she takes some of the edibles. Long story short, she gets incredibly high. I mean, really high at one point where she's so happy and she's just like, "Oh my God, I've never been this high in my life." And as a pop person, I get excited. When you hear that, you're like, this is awesome. I get to experience your greatest high moment, because she looks very happy. She's having highs and lows. She keeps going to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, I get it. She's got high anxiety. She's pacing. And, I'm just telling her, it's okay. Like, let me be your shaman. It's okay. You're good. You're good. So we were watching, music videos and everything. And at one point, she comes from the bathroom. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. She comes out of the bathroom, and I tell her, "Hey, I want you to check this video out." And the video that I'm going to show her is Killer Mike's Ronald Reagan. So this sort of connects to what you were just saying, because the beginning of that video, it's animated. It's an incredible freaking video, and it's an incredible song.
It's good.
And how dare you say it's good? I'm sorry, the Childish Gambino didn't make it.
How dare I literally say what you just said?
Huh?
I said it's good.
I'm fucking with you. Ironically, huh? No, I'm kidding. No, see, that's a song that you like. I would never accuse you of ironically liking that song, because you like it. Okay?
Dude,
you do not like Bad and Bougie.
I love Bad and Bougie.
All right.
I listened to it last night.
Anyway. Yeah, whatever. So, if you guys haven't seen this video, the beginning of the video is sort of an image that shows Ronald Reagan like a puppet, and to the left of the screen, there's like the pyramid and the Eye of Horus, like all the dollar bill stuff. And she looks at it, and she hits the space key, and she tells me, "You drugged me." And you're now putting.
How did she say? How exactly?
Oh, exactly, as cool and as calmly, like it's almost.
You drugged me, just like
she. As she's saying this, she's looking down at the ground and looking like she's about to get her things together, like she just realized something. Like, I just had a eureka moment. She said, "You drugged me, and now you're trying to put subliminal messages into my head." And she started taking her stuff, and then as she said that, obviously we've had a great night. It wasn't weird. I said, "I'm trying to put subliminal messages into your head," and then she said, "And now you're repeating me." So she took her stuff. She had like a hoodie of mine on because it was cold in my apartment. She's like, I'll mail you your hoodie. I'm getting out of here. And she took her stuff and she walked away. And I just like stayed seated here. I didn't tell her, "Oh no, don't go." I just looked at her. And when she left, I started watching the rest of the video. It's like what happened was so random, isn't even the word. It was so chaotic that I had no reaction to it, because it was so out of the vibe of the whole situation, because she just got too high. She got way too high. And she called me like 2 times after she left, and I just declined both. I do not want to talk to this person,
because it would ruin your high too. And
it didn't. You can't ruin my high. You can't, because if I know where it's coming from, it's not. Now, if she comes to me, if I said something rude to her, and if I said something dickish, then it would ruin my high, because I know I did something wrong.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything. No, man. I was just here, and I was just showing her videos. She was in a rap too, so she was showing me videos that she liked. So I'm showing her, stuff that generally, people wouldn't, nobody fucking listens to fucking Killer Mike or Run the Jewels. Not the mass public anyway. She's more of a casual listener. So
what did she show you?
She was just Childish Gambino. She's really into him.
Hey, you know what? This girl sounds really nice.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. Yeah, sounds like a great girl. She's really into Childish. She's into Chance.
Okay.
Which seem like the very hot button sort of people that are sort of on the forefront right now. Not to say that they're not good artists, but the casual listener would be listening to them right now.
You know what would be a great twist is if you actually drugged her.
Well, I mean, technically, I did.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But she drugged herself. She drugged herself.
Yeah, you didn't. The drugging someone is
putting it in right.
No, drugging someone is only when they don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
That's drugging.
You mean when you put it into and they don't know that they're ingesting it?
Anything when they don't know.
The cookie was given to her as an adult.
She drugged herself. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's
here's the blue pill, the red pill, Neo. What do you want to do? Neo chose to go into the Matrix.
Do you have any edibles? I just wanted an edible, and you're talking about some pills or some shit. Like, I don't know.
Why did I beat you?
'Cause you're stronger than me. Like, I don't know.
Maybe. You think me being bigger, being faster helps
You're also black.
Okay, yeah, that explains it. That explains it.
You think that's air you're breathing right now?
You think that's air you're breathing?
You think that's double D's you're listening to right now?
You're not.
Whoever you are walking around, you're in the Matrix, right? I hope there's one high guy who we can make paranoid right now.
There's always a high guy listening to this show. It's great.
He's rolling around crying.
If you're high listening to this show, I want to know in the comment section. I want you guys to let us know on Snapchat.
I'm blazed, dog. I'm fucking blazed.
Message me at d.respect on Snapchat.
Message me too. C Blackula, CBLA.
Nah, you don't have to message him. You don't have to. He doesn't do the marijuana. Daddy's high right now.
I do. I smoked 2 days ago.
Okay. So anyway, I mean, so I believe
the paranoia,
and I was at that point too. I think at one point when I was getting high, where I was paying way too much attention to the symbols that I saw. Here's an interesting thing, and I'm gonna take it to the spiritual realm.
Oh Jesus, this show's over.
Ram Dass, who's a spiritual guru. Ram Dass says something that's very enlightening and it's very interesting.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Are you gonna fucking laugh at me? Or are you gonna let me say this?
Yes, I will.
To people?
Continue,
Okay.
please.
So what he says is it's all the same incarnation. So if you're high and you're watching an image that you think is subliminal and evil, just know that it's a part of the same incarnation as a cheeseburger that you'll eat while you're high, or a great.
Mean?
It's all existing in the same world, so they both have the same value and meaning. If you can find great meaning in the burger that you're eating, then that means you can find great meaning in the Eye of Horus, or not mind it at all and just understand that it's just a part of your existence, just like the burger is.
Okay, now here's a problem, and obviously we've heard Trestle talking about this or something, but like.
No. I listen to Ram Dass. I don't listen to Trestle. I listen to Ram Dass.
Okay.
That's the difference between me and you, sir.
What's the difference between me and you?
I listen to Ram Dass, and you listen to Ram Dass because of Duncan Trestle.
Okay, that didn't rhyme. Okay, I've heard this thing of like when you're supposedly at this ultimate peak of whatever you're talking about, you should technically not be afraid when someone's running at you with a gun or something. Like, that's what I'm worried about, is like what...
That you shouldn't be afraid. No, see, you know what the thing is?
The gun is a part of the universe. Someone's pointing a gun at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what... I'm this is just a cheeseburger in my face. I'm not going to turn around and run. This is a cheeseburger.
Okay, but there's... See, but the thing is that I think the common misconception when some people think that when you think like that, it's not like a college degree. It's not like if you have moments when you're enlightened. I mean, obviously when we have moments of creativity, we're enlightened. Those are moments of enlightenment. You're having those moments.
If that's the case, then I'm I must be understanding the universe.
It's I think the thought is it's not a college degree, okay? It's not something that you put on your wall and you were forever enlightened. It's an off and on switch. You know, when you have moments and you don't have moments, you know. But I think the important thing is realizing when you're out of it, when you're not being yourself, when you're not being, you know, when you're not thinking about things in the proper way. As long as you acknowledge that you're not in it right now, I think that's important. But what you're saying is that you're supposed to be, danger isn't relevant, and that's not true. Of course, danger is relevant. It's the idea of fear, you know, because fear and danger are two different things. You know, somebody with a gun, that's danger, but fear is something that you created in your head. So something that may happen, or is what the saying is false evidence appearing real. I forgot who is it that I think it's Christian Emerging.
I don't like acronyms, man.
But I mean, it's false evidence appearing real when you think about it. So, when somebody's coming at you with a gun, that's not fear. That's somebody coming at you with a fucking gun. And if you see I think the incarnations that they're both real, then you'll react to that gun a lot quicker than if you think that's some Illuminatic thing and it's evil and it's whoa, man, and you know what I'm saying. You see it for what it is. You know, we're going off, you know, what we always go off the deep end. But I really do think that that's an important piece of information, because that's what would make somebody, while they're high, that's what would make somebody believe that. That would make somebody believe that that symbol means something, and I have to react to that symbol. So I have to revolt against that symbol. And I think real power is when you can acknowledge that there's an intention behind that symbol. It may imply something, but it has no effect on you whatsoever. It doesn't work, because ultimately you know that you're the one that decides everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
this is true, but sometimes
somebody puts a fucking swastika on your, somebody burns an American flag and leaves it on your bed.
What the hell?
You know what that symbolizes. You know what that means.
Right.
But your reaction to it and what you attribute to it, I think that's where the real work is done.
Okay, so what I'm concerned about is I'm never going to be the guy who's looking at the TV with the Rihanna shit and being like, her dancing the music video means that she's like Satan. I'm not that guy, but someone burning something on your bed, that's not Illuminati shit. That means someone is trying to harm you.
Okay, so is that me using the danger example, I guess?
Yeah, so
because that is danger.
Yeah. So I'm talking specifically about that. And
somebody emails you a picture and it says nigger in it. That'd be hilarious, by the way. Somebody needs to email me.
No, please don't. Please don't. Please don't email.
Podcast. Just
please don't email domdraws@gmail.com with the word nigger in it.
Nigger. Just nigger. Somebody emails that to you. You'll take it within its context. You know, intelligent people understand context, and to be completely detached to all stupid symbols is to always understand the context of all this shit.
But you know what, man? It's just so fucking convenient that we get to say this now, that I can just laugh at the word nigger. Do you know how great that is?
But this is the idea. The idea is that I can say it. I can say it because, like I said, this shit isn't like a fucking degree. It's not like a degree. It does not hang on your wall. So I can say it. Though I feel that I've reacted to things that I should react more negative. The way I reacted to her, dude, I think most people would be in this room. They'd be like, "What the hell is wrong with you? What are you doing?"
You just let her go.
I just let her go. From one moment to the next, I was kind of just like,
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good, because I wouldn't have reacted. It would have ruined my day.
Dude, I didn't skip a beat. I took a little bit more of an edible and I passed the fuck out.
You were so blacked out. That's what happened. You fucking let your cat out.
I was completely here. You know, but the thing is, my tolerance is going up. Even, you know, if I was sober, obviously I would be even less, you know, giving a shit. But I just so happen to be drunk, and on the edible. So I was just like, whatever. But that's the thing. I mean, the thing is that it sounds good in practice to say, yeah, somebody can walk out of your apartment at 4:00 in the morning and you'll pretend like it won't bother you. No, it didn't. It didn't bother me at all. She left and I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I didn't give a fuck. I share the story here because I think it's interesting, and I think it's something worth bringing up to these guys because, well, first of all, it's the craziest thing that I've ever seen a human being do. It was absolutely bizarre. But she was drunk, so I charged. She was high, so I charged it to that, obviously. Yeah. I see somebody do that sober, then, that's. Ugh. So I don't think she's crazy or anything. I just think she saw that symbol, and that symbol meant something to her. That
Maybe
symbol.
It was
she
even
was just
before
like,
that. I think she was probably deciding that when she was going into the bathroom.
Oh,
Being
yeah.
Being someone who's had a lot of paranoid highs, I mean, like, I've sat on the toilet and have been like scared to shit, is because it's like a confusing feeling to me when I was like super high, like what is happening here? And then I was it got really weird some of those times where it's like you feel like you're almost like 5 years old again. You're like, what the fuck is this? Which I guess is sort of the experience that people want in a way. Like that's ego death. That's why people take shrooms, so that they just you want to not feel like you're an adult. Like my childhood was like objectively kind of shitty. Like there were a lot of like bad things that happened to me, and like the Jehovah's Witness thing being one of them, and that was years, right? And I still am nostalgic for those times when I was like, I don't know, 7 and just didn't know shit. Like that the way you interpret the world when you don't know anything is like it's intoxicating. It's like there's something beautiful about that. And like it's so beautiful, in fact, that we are constantly trying to get back to it as adults. Because like you come to understand things to the point where even language, like you have a really strong vocabulary. Like I'm sure like when you hear a word you don't know, it's like a right? It's like a thing, like all right, that's interesting. Or you hear about something you've never heard before. Like it's kind of rare, which is I think why travel is worth something. But people are constantly trying to obliterate all that stuff that is known to them, even at the expense of their own sanity. Like people get bored by regular existence, and they just want it weed makes things a little more interesting. Does it make things interesting for you?
It does. It does, because getting up and going to work makes you. I have a long commute, kind of a long commute to work, but it definitely makes the commute a lot cooler. It makes the commute a lot cooler to just be on the train and just watch everything just go by, because you just feel more relaxed. And and then by the time I'm in the work day, it fades off, and then I'm pretty. I've had some interesting interactions with people while high as fuck at the job that have been worth mentioning, but I won't mention them here. But I think ultimately what shoots people down is like what shoots them down is you can have an experience where you don't react negatively to something, and people will sort of be like, what's wrong with you? Okay, like you can have a situation where most of us would say, okay, 1 + 2 is 3. How great would it have been if I fucked that equation? I would have been like, that would have been great. But, well, essentially that's what I am saying. What I am saying is your ability to go 1 + 2 is 7, when people were saying, no, 1 + 2 = 6. The equation of somebody storming out of your house and being rude is 3.
Yeah, it's 3.
You get angry at them, you know, whatever, and whatever. And it's just like, that's not necessarily what has to happen. And then it's you're kind of odd. And I really do think that travel does play a good part in that, because I think sometimes what happens is, and I lived in a country for 2 years at a very young age. I mean, I lived in the Dominican Republic when I was from the ages of 8 to 9.
Okay.
From the ages of 8 to 9, so I really didn't know exactly what was going around, but I'd always like to think that living in a different environment for 2 years served me in some way.
Everything does.
Because I noticed certain things there that you you remember, you smell things. Like when you think back in that time, I smell the food and it was different. You know, things were just so completely different. Just everything in the air was. And, you know, though I haven't traveled much in my adult life, I really feel like in this country we just have this. There's just this thing where we have to suffer through everything. You gotta feel pain. You gotta, and it's what drives it. It's what drives us to create and to do the great things that people were able to do in this land. You know, because we believe in running upstream. Get up there, get up. So when you sort of when you start to look at life a little slower, as I believe that I definitely have, like just look at everything a little slower, and I'm not judging things by face value. It's you are kind of being going a little against what the general consensus is, and the general consensus is your environment, your immediate circumstances should determine exactly how you feel, because you're going to get that Subaru, and the Subaru is going to change something in you. It's going to change something. You know, that's why when I saw it on the commercial, I believed in what it could do for my family.
Right.
You know, this is going to change something about me. This is going to fill some void. And, you know, obviously, you know, people are seeing as they get older, that frame of thinking, obviously it doesn't work. You know,
it is complete horseshit. And I don't know if we're assholes for buying into this thing. We're all susceptible to it, by the way. Because, I mean, all they would need to do is make, like, a Sprite commercial where, like, someone is screaming or dying. And I'd be like, I love this.
Is Little Yachty in it?
Yes, and he's dying as well.
Oh,
he's like,
sign me up for that one.
but we're just... No, but
don't tell that to Fantano, though.
Yeah, what?
What? A Little Yachty.
Yeah. No, it's, But you know what? Maybe that is different. I'm going to give myself a little fucking credit. And I'll give you credit, too. That's absurdity. We are buying into absurdity at that point. Yeah. But then again, one could say that's what Old Spice is doing. And I actually do use Old Spice, so maybe it does work.
Do you think you got Old Spice because of Terry Crews and the black guy in the towel?
I think I bought into it. I think
you
I
bought
did.
into that?
I think I did. Why am I not using Rite Aid brand? Why am I not using CVS? I don't want to use CVS.
See, but you know what, though? But there's something to be said about the acknowledgement of understanding that it worked on you, because you know that it's selling you something, and you know what it's trying to get away with.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because look,
I'm sorry to cut you off. Which is the difference between somebody who buys things for no reason, and another person who buys things because they serve you in some way, shape, or form. They're more useful. You buy things that are useful to you. Consumption on that it's not evil, because you're buying things that you actually...
Because I need to fucking smell like a good person.
Excuse me?
Because I need to smell like a good person, like so shampoo.
Yeah,
and
maybe
soap
you need to smell. You know, maybe you want to smell like a good person. But just getting some things without even the acknowledgement of why you're really purchasing this. Yeah. I mean, there are the bare essentials like soap and deodorant. I mean, you know, there's that too. But you chose that specific brand. But
what's top tier? Or let's obviously, $300 tie. $600 shoes. That's when you get into the stupid tier. But like, let's talk about
unless you can afford it.
Yeah, you're right.
Unless which most people can't. Which most people cannot.
But I'm looking around at like
$600 on a pair of shoes. That's ridiculous.
I'm looking around at the things that like I value the most, and it's all my tech. It's my computer, my tablet, camera, books.
Which are all material things that you need. You need those things.
Right.
You know, but not need them in a sense that your self-esteem is attached to them. You know what I'm saying? You just know, I use these things. This is how I communicate. This is how I'm going to earn a living. Not, I need this because if I don't have it, I don't know what I am anymore.
But that really is it's a poison of marketing. You know what they call it? Lifestyle marketing. Well, you guys gotta pay attention to when you're watching. Okay, I'll pick on BET because they're very specific about it. It's very transparent there because you guys have seen pretty attractive.
Y'all niggas want some chicken? Y'all niggas love to eat that chicken, boy. We have that chicken. We got buckets of chicken.
What commercial is this?
Nigger chicken. Just send me nigger chicken. All right, it's evolved to that now. Email it to me or snap
nigger
it.
chicken to D.
Nigger chicken.
Nigger chicken. What does nigger chicken look like? What does that establishment look like?
What's this nigger chicken? I don't know. Let's build it. Let's build the nigger chicken shop.
Welcome to nigger chicken.
Welcome to nigger chicken. What's the color scheme of nigger chicken?
It's exactly like Popeyes.
Right, so it
There's
didn't
no
innovate
difference.
anything. It's just a carbon copy.
Yes, just imagine the Popeyes logo, but it says nigger chicken, same font, same color. They even use the same wallpaper. They're going through these lawsuits because they didn't change anything.